Okay, this is People of the State of Michigan versus Kevon Brown, docket number 21-39FC. This is the time set for hearing on the defendant's motion for reduction of bond. And Mr. Sartz is here for the defendant, Mr. Brown, who is present remotely from the jail, and Ms. Allen for the people. And Mr. Sartz, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. My apologies. I got a little bit of allergies with the dry air. 1 second. Sorry about that, Your Honor. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Brown this afternoon. Mr. Brown is requesting a bond reduction at this time. Your Honor, he's currently on a $100,000 cash and surety bond. He's been lodged in jail now for the duration of the case, going back to August of 2020, when he was initially arrested on this matter. Your Honor, he was sent down to the Center for Forensic Psychiatry for an evaluation for competency to stand trial. They determined he was competent, so we proceeded on with this case. Your Honor may be aware that I did file a notice of an insanity defense this morning, and we'll be requesting that he be sent back down to the Center for Forensic Psychiatry for an evaluation regarding criminal responsibility. And ultimately, it's his mental health, Your Honor, that is driving a big reason for why we're pursuing this bond motion at this time. I've talked at length with his family, Your Honor. They're very concerned about the treatment that he's getting in the Ingham County Jail right now. They are concerned for his mental health. They do believe he would be better served if we can get him into a full-time facility as this case proceeds, and certainly on hopefully with the positive response back in terms of criminal responsibility. Perhaps that's more of a longer term issue, but in the short term, that's what's driving a lot of the concern right now in terms of Mr. Brown's current situation, Your Honor. If the court is inclined to grant him some reduction, that would be the family's goal. I know I've talked at length with his father about possibly a civil commitment order or something else down the road. This is a long-term issue for Mr. Brown, but for right now, Your Honor, to his credit, he does have a lot of local connections to the community. His family has assured me that he does have a stable place to stay if he is released. We received an updated bond report this morning, and it reflects pretty clearly that prior to the allegations in August here, Your Honor, he did not have an extensive criminal history at all. Quite the contrary. This is a very isolated incident in this young man's life. And the report also indicates that, again, it supports the concerns that he's had these mental health issues for a long time, Your Honor. So that ultimately comes back to the bond reduction here and the request for one, Your Honor. Above all else, we want to make sure that Mr. Brown is in the best position to obtain the treatment that he needs, and in the best position to receive ongoing care. And respectfully, I believe with the assistance of his family, he'd be able to get better treatment if he gets a reduction and is allowed to go into some full-time treatment, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. And I have to respectfully disagree with Mr. Sartz and how he's characterized the bond report, because from what I'm seeing, they said they could not actually even verify the release address to where he would be staying. And so I understand the mental health conditions, I do, but that's also a factor under MCR 6.106F 1D, which is the defendant's mental health condition and potential for dangerousness. And here we have an offense where the defendant's been charged with assault with intent to murder, which is a life offense. Under the allegation, he shot a family member in the head at close range. In the bond report and in the defendant's statement to the police, he does suffer from schizophrenia and he was not taking any medication, which is how, which is in the police report. He also said he was homeless at the time. And so those factors combined with the bond report, unable to reach his father and not being able to verify a release address, I think the bond is appropriate. I agree we can mental health can be a big issue, but I also think if we're transferring to the forensic center, he will be transported from the jail. They can get that done. But I think based on the seriousness of the offense, the mental health conditions that have been brought up here, and the fact that he's been homeless before and we can't verify a new arrest, or excuse me, a new residence, that the factors in MCR 6.106 would say that his bond is appropriate. Thank you.
Yes, he is alleged to have shot a family member in the head at close range. It is alleged that he told the police that he shot his cousin at close range. And he also suffers from, it would appear, a mental health disorder, a significant one. And the the pretrial services report was not very encouraging as far as an address goes. It indicated that he had been living for 3 months, I think, at his dad's girlfriend's house, and could not be verified, and that would be his intended release address. It also indicated that he was previously, it indicated that, again, he had a mental health disorder and fairly significant nature. So I would deny the defendant's request to reduce the bond to the extent that this is being brought under the court rule that would provide for a PR bond after 6 months. I find by clear and convincing evidence that the defendant is likely to flee or present a danger to any other person for the reasons that I've already indicated. And I have signed, though, the order to have the defendant transported to the forensic center for evaluation, reference criminal responsibility. So that's been all signed, but I'm denying any change in the bond. And that will complete this hearing.